For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. And it's a glorious thing. And it's amazing how the apostle talks about that, and he talks about the mystery of the church. And I said, God, church, family, and the seal of approval, it would seem like, from the Apostle Paul here. And I think about this thing called families, and how that God allows these beautiful children to be born out of a loving relationship. And there are times when I may be out someplace and see a family together. I just love that, the dynamic and how they relate with one another. And then sometimes you'll see these large families. And in situations like that, a lot of times the older children are helping to raise the smaller children. I know my wife, Tammy, she was older when her little sister was born. And the little sister now, she kind of looks at Tammy as being another mother. And that's just kind of the dynamic. And it's just wonderful that God created such a beautiful thing. So I think about this sometimes, and I think about it as my role as a pastor of a church that just loves having families. Just that's one of the things I pray for. I said, Lord, send us families with children, so we can be a blessing to them. And then I began to think about, now how can we really be a blessing to a family? Because there are needs. And of course, as I've told you before on the broadcast, I'm older than my wife, but nevertheless, we were young when we started having children. And of course, I was pursuing the ministry. And of course, I've always worked secular work along with pastoring or whatever type of ministry that I've been involved in. But you know this, that as children come along, the money gets a little tighter. And then another child comes along and the money gets a little tighter. And out of all of that, you're wanting to raise a family, and you're wanting to be able to meet all of their needs. And sometimes you don't get all the wants in, but you take care of the basic needs. And somehow or another, you look back over the years, you say, well, we survived it. We didn't starve. And the children all seem to be healthy, and you go on with life that way. But I know a lot of times these areas of relationships can be a real difficult situation to deal with. How do you get along, especially in that pressure cooker that families can often create? Moms and dads, one of the things that Tammy and I learned in our marriage is that we had to take time to get away, just the two of us, because that family is only going to be as strong as that relationship between the mom and dad. And so they need to renew that. We need to rekindle that. And yes, sometimes that requires getting somebody to watch the children for a while. But moms and dads, that relationship between the two of you, that's the most important thing. Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.